party? I'll come to you first.
Well, I mean, straight up, Mr. Peter Obi has made it clear that, you know, the greatness of Nigeria is possible with P and O in capital letters. And he has been very consistent that he's in this business of politics, of leading Nigeria to serve the people, to improve the welfare of the people. And he has every legitimate right to say so, whether it is in the south or it is on the streets of Abuja, FCT, where they are having elections, municipal elections there, you know, in the FCT. So what I do not agree with is some people saying they are in a position to dictate who should become the candidate when the primaries come up. He's in the ADC, and he has also made it clear that he's going to run to win, particularly at the primaries level. But there are other contestants. The only concern about people is the rhetoric coming from Obedience. The person is called Obedience, who has almost been as magisterial, judgmental as some other persons involved in the matter, saying that it must be Peter Obi by force. You know, in a democratic process, you cannot dictate the outcome of a process. And I would just say, you know, the people in the ADC and also the members of the obedient movement should know that politics is also, you know, about respecting the rights of other people, you know, to make a free choice. Either within the party, we should have internal democracy, or in the general field where the rights of the people to choose should be respected.
Absolutely. I know there were also some concerns that maybe the Obi factor of 2023 had died down, and some of these visuals are, you know, making people question whether that's really the reality, although it's just FCT. But that conversation is still happening there, whether the Obi factor can sweep through the same way it did in 2023. Ayo.
All right, so let me just say that every single election from now till the main elections in 2027 is going to be important, critical, and a show of just how much political muscle and power that each individual or each candidate carries. And of course, the conversation has been around since the defection formally from the Labour Party to the ADCs, that can Peter Obi work the magic he did. Because whether we like it or not, the Labour Party was almost non-existent before he came with his obedient movement. We re-energized the party and actually came third according to INEC's release of results at the last presidential elections. That was a massive feat for anyone to achieve. And so the big question is that if he's able to achieve this, would the ADC look at the potential for their chances at winning or clinching that presidential slot during the elections of 2027 and put this into consideration with him getting the ticket? You know, against big heavyweights like Atiku, you've brought Rotimi Amechi a number of times. You've been pushing it. Let's not forget
not
him.
Pushing it.
No, not pushing it, but like you always remind us that there's another person.
Because he fought a good fight in the last.
And whether we like it or not, he also has his own political clout. So just to mention that this is a big show, that Peter Obi still has the a magic touch with his people. He's still in touch with the obedience, and maybe this might be the upsets that a number of the coalitions are looking forward to come 2027. Let's see how he consolidates on this.
All right. Well,
I don't like to get ahead of myself. Yeah. Number one, Obi still has his touch, but I don't think it will impact his local council elections in Abuja because elections are local. If ADC does not have a strong candidate on ground and you think because Obi went there to campaign, nothing will happen. No. Obi equally went to campaign for Mogalu that has now left the Labour Party in Anambra State. After using the Labour Party, nothing still happened. So let's not delude ourselves. I'll tell you the pure facts. Secondly, as regards the obedience saying is Obi or not, and Dr. Abati, you can't be judge or begrudge a group of persons for having a firm mindset of support. Yes, that's democracy. If it doesn't go their way afterwards, they will see what is on ground. But you cannot say that they have the right not to be able to toot their candidate. People will toot their candidates. There's no how. I think for me also, as regards this ADC committee coming together, is the fact that hope they are not already making mistakes now. A case of Yemi Adamolekun is there. So how did the ADC go put Yemi Adamolekun on a team where she has not agreed to be part of? It shows some of their shenanigans to start with. And I keep saying all of these things. Please, they must be able to look internally and look very well and get their processes right so that people will not be talking anyhow to them.
Absolutely. Well, I think one of the big themes really is to see whether internal democracy will actually succeed in when the ADC primary comes about, because, of course, we know the reputation that primaries have, and we look forward to seeing how that plays out. We're still talking elections, as the Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria has renewed its call for the immediate removal and prosecution of the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Joash Amupitan, ahead of the 2027 general elections, describing him as a threat to the credibility of Nigeria's democratic process. Well, the council warned that Muslims would neither recognize nor legitimize any election conducted under Amupitan's leadership, citing that what it described as serious integrity and neutrality concerns. The president of the Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria, Sheikh Bashir Umar, said the council's stance was based on what it described as the INEC chairman's questionable antecedents, particularly a legal brief he authored affirming the existence of a Christian genocide in Nigeria. According to him, the position taken by the INEC chairman amounted to divisive propaganda and raised serious doubts about his impartiality as the head of Nigeria's electoral body. You can imagine this is a topic that would generate a lot of feedback, especially on social media. Let's go to X quickly and see what people had to say. In this post, Yakubu wrote, "Appointments are not determined by feelings of religious groups. Nigeria belongs to all." Okweolua also posted and said, "It must inspire confidence along religious and ethnic lines, but not competence." Ah, God. This last post on X says, "Well, it's hard to satisfy everyone in this country. What we truly need is a strong, principled leader who stands firm and makes decisions in the nation's best interest." I love that tweet because, in essence, Nigeria is such a diverse nation that it's going to be impossible to please everyone, and we also don't expect the leadership to sell ice cream. They're not here to sell people ice cream, but we also do expect principled decision making. Dr. Abati, I'll come to you on this topic of this Sharia council saying that Muslims will reject any election under Amupitan, as if Muslims in Nigeria are one homogeneous, monolithic group.
Well, I think that the Department of State Services, the DSS, and other relevant agencies should invite this Sheikh Bashir Umar for a conversation and to advise him accordingly, not to inflame passions, not to he himself spread divisive propaganda before the commencement of the 2027 elections. Interestingly enough, the Sheikh was talking about Nigeria's future, faith, leadership, and I think justice. Now, I cannot put that on the tripod of religious division and say that for religious reasons, on the basis of antecedents that he may not also be well apprised of, that the INEC chairman should be removed immediately. Otherwise, Muslims will not take part in the 2027 elections, or they will not accept the outcome of any results announced under the leadership of Professor Amupitan. No, that kind of rhetoric is dangerous for society. And that is why I think it should be called to order. Because as a sheikh, he occupies a position of importance. As president of the Sharia Council, he occupies a very important position. And there may be less knowledgeable people, who may be tempted to believe what he's saying and then act on the basis of his own affirmation from the high pedestal that he occupies. The second point is about Professor Amupitan. Now, the antecedent that he's referring to, Professor Amupitan was said to have written a legal brief, which is in circulation, where, he's alleged to have said, there is Christian genocide in Nigeria. I don't know what date this was, but nobody, I think, should capitalize on religious sentiments to say, you know, because you are a Christian or because you are a Muslim, is likely to affect the outcome. Section 10 of the Nigerian Constitution is very clear that there shall be no state religion. Nobody is given a major appointment in government in this country on the basis written of being a Christian or a Muslim. Now people talk about tickets, Muslim, Christian, Muslim. It's a conventional thing. It's a tool of convenience for politicians looking for what best serves their purpose. But Nigeria does not have such an official policy, whether it's at the presidential level or anywhere. It's just convenience, you know, and it's not written anywhere in law. And people should say that. What I expect the Sheikh to be saying is to mobilize his followers as Nigerians who have civic duty and responsibility to make their own choice, to vote, and to respect the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Well said, Dr. Abbas. You said the Constitution said there must be no state religion. Why do we have pilgrims board for both religion? And why does the government subsidize religious travel every year?
Am I quoting the Constitution wrongly? It says there should be
no
state religion,
I
federation, or any part thereof.
Dr. Abati, yes, you stated it, but why do we now have pilgrims board and the government subsidize religious travel every year?
We have often, and it's a correct position to take, that politicians should not use the divisive factors of religion and ethnicity for their own political purposes.
Yes, exactly.
And that's why I said, you know, it's politicians who do this for purposes of convenience and political opportunism. But it should not be something that people in positions of leadership should be promoting or using to incite the public. Incitement to violence or hatred is a felony.
Absolutely.
Please tell Sheikh that.
I'm sure he's gotten the message loud and clear. Very quickly,
I just want to say that I think the point at which our politics and governance will be elevated in this nation is when we're able to remove religion and ethnicity from conversations. For too long, it's been used as a tool, whether for good or whether for bad. So maybe we need to come to a point whereby religious leaders who wield such huge influence on their followers are not allowed to make certain statements, especially if it's in the interest of national security. I say this because this was a pre-Ramadan lecture, and we know just how highly revered these religious leaders are, whether in the Christian community or the Muslim community. Therefore, they have a responsibility for the statements that they make, because it could potentially have unintended consequences. And so maybe, you know, that's why there's always that argument around religion and politics, we need them definitely, and like Dr. Bati said, their influence could be better channeled to having their constituents get involved in the democratic process without directly influencing by making statements that are very, you know, directly attacking people. Because at the end of the day, the Christian genocide conversation has been contextual, depending on which group has been speaking about it. Yes, the federal government has an official position, but different groups also have positions that they have shared, and so bringing that into context and using that as an, you know, now if we have the elections and people start protesting based on what INEC does, it can be traced back to the statements, and that's why with much power and influence comes great responsibility.
Very well said, Ayo. Religion is something that should not be weaponized, especially as we're getting into this very heated period in the lead up to elections, where we know that it will be an intense campaign. So religion is not something that should be used as a weapon. Well, it's still campaign season, as Iyabo Obasanjo, daughter of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, has returned to active politics after almost 15 years and joined the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, ahead of the 2027 general elections in Ogun State. Iyabo, who represented Ogun Central Senatorial District between 2007 and 2011, participated in the ongoing APC e-registration exercise, effectively sealing her membership of the ruling party. However, she joins a growing list of politicians' offspring who are expressing their interest in elected office. Son to the FCT minister Nyesom Wike Joaquin Wike, age 25, is said to be positioning himself for the House of Reps seat for Obio-Akpo constituency, where his father also started his career. Son to the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, Osborne Umahi, aged 27, is reported to have picked up his 30 million naira nomination form for the local government chairman position for Ohazora local government in Ebonyi State. Son to Atiku Abubakar, Abba Abubakar, aged 47, made headlines when he officially registered as a member of the ruling APC recently, although he's yet to express interest in vying for office. And of course, the first son, Sheyi Tinubu, aged 40, who is also the founder and patron of the City Boy movement and is widely tipped to be preparing to run for office in Lagos State.
We'll implement mechanized farming, and we will work with professionals to ensure that the agricultural section of the local government is properly equipped and developed.
Today, this journey that we're on, by the grace of God, we are going to go very far. All what the people here, your leaders, have said today is true. And by the grace of God, God will help us to accomplish it.
But they keep coming for me. They keep coming for my family. They keep coming for your father. They keep coming for Ashwaju, Bola, Ahmed, Tinubu, the greatest president in the history of Nigeria. The only president that has carried young people along from when he was governor to when he became president. The only president that considered youth and student loans.
Well, it looks like the next generation of politics is being shaped right before our eyes, Rufai.
Yes, it's the continuation of hegemonic privilege, and it happens in every society. And like you know, these are names of top politicians. One way or the other, they've put in their children. The President of Obasanjo, by the way, Yabo Obasanjo Bello served as a senator, you know, at some point. No, that was Yabo Obasanjo now, because then she was Yabo Obasanjo Bello, if my memory serves me right. She was a senator then. So the list goes on. I think Ibori's daughter also serves in the House of Reps, El Rufai. The list goes on, you know. And it's not going to end, except the people are determined to have a fair system that works for all. Name politics, even in the biggest economies like America, you have the Kennedys, you have the Bushes and all of that. Name politics gets a big leverage. But when you look at it, in this context in Nigeria, name politics in a country where people are struggling to pay kidnappers for ransom, in a country where 177 people have been kidnapped, nobody has been able to bring them home. We just reported this. In a country that has largely failed the people. So when you ask them, why are they putting their children in there? It's just because they want their children to control the hegemony. And it's a control. Go back in history since 1960. Some families have started leading the country. They pass it on to other families. Every year, a new family gets into the hegemony. And it's just a matter of time. But all of this is at the expense of the poorest of the poor. So how do we change it? We need to have a balancing. I think somebody wrote a book. I think it's Walter Schneider or Schnedlin. He wrote a book. He called it The Great Leveler. When is Nigerian political structure and societal strata going to have a great leveler? It will be with a people that truly wants their country to change. A people that does not respect the hegemony, a people that does not respect Babasokwe-cracy, a people that truly asks for accountability. But the big question is, are the people ready? The big question is, are the institutions ready? No. It's not only in politics. It's been done in judiciary. It's been done in every area of our lives. But except we break this hegemony or we limit it, Nigeria will never move forward. These people will say, because their fathers have served Nigeria, they too must serve Nigeria. So the colonization continues, the internal colonization. And Vimba, it's never going to stop. It's So.
Can I just give a quote by activist Aisha Yesufu that I think is very powerful and relevant to this story, which is that we're looking forward to a Nigeria where the son of nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody. We are very far away from that. And there is I want to put education as one of the levelers Rufai we're talking about. Access to quality education by all Nigerians can give people an opportunity to aspire to get to levels that their parents didn't get to. But unfortunately, even at the level of education, there's such a wide divide between the education that is received by the children of these elites and children of ordinary Nigerians, whereby you can't even aspire. What you are thinking about, you're so mindful of how to get your next meal, you cannot even be aspirational. And there's almost a deliberate attempt to keep people shackled on that level, whereby you cannot even attempt to aspire to get to the next level.
I don't see it as together with our next story.
Okay. Dynastic politics, you find it all over the world. Whether it's in Bangladesh, or it's in South Korea, or it's in India, or it's the United States, or Equatorial Guinea, or even Nigeria. What we should emphasize is that if the son or the daughter is competent, what we need in Nigeria are competent people who can provide solutions to the many problems that we have. To talk about circumstances of birth, people don't choose where they came from, but they must be qualified and they must be competent. They will probably even be better persons than their parents, whose examples that they are following. But they must be competent. They should not be just children of privilege to come and inherit a culture of rent collection, feeding fat on the Nigerian state. So when we can see that competence, that will make sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I think where the concern comes is the divide between the haves and the have-nots and those who don't have access to even the funding required to access political office. Excuse me, and that's what takes us to our next story. From Kogi State, where a new video being circulated on social media shows a mother crying out to the public, begging for help to find her daughter, Biniu Latifa. Latifa was kidnapped on her way to NYSC orientation camp, and according to her family, the kidnappers are demanding 30 million naira. So far, her family and friends have only raised 1 million naira. And in this new video, her mother asked the public for urgent help. Let's take a look.
ti ṣe nù ẹ̀yin náà ràn wá lọ́wọ́ gbogbo èèyàn kí gbogbo ayé ṣe bá wa dá 2,000 péré a máa pín ní àkáǹtì wọn bó jẹ́ 2,000 ẹ̀pà káǹtì yín ẹ wá pa káǹtì ẹjọ́ ẹ ṣàánú ẹjọ́ wọ́n mú ọmọ wọn ní àwọn kidnapper ló mú ọmọ yìí ọmọ sùn ní o ọmọ yìí ló sáàbù ní ó lọ sáàbù wọn kidnapper ẹ̀ ní o ẹjọ́ ọmọ ẹjọ́ wọn ní láti wọ́n ti fẹ́ fẹ́ mílíọ̀nù ọlọ́wọ́ ọba ti ṣe
Well, Latifa is a mass communications graduate of Kwara State Polytechnic and an only child. And this story has once again put a spotlight on the kidnapping epidemic and the impact it's having on families across the country. Ayo, I'll come to you. Rufai, you shared another story of, it's just stories upon stories of kidnappings and ransoms and so forth.
And that's why I was saying that we hardly have security in this country. So let's stop deceiving ourselves.
The lack of handling or management or tackling of insecurity has now created an industry for kidnappers, such that whereby the law says do not pay ransom, do not pay this, but when you leave people with no choice but to save the lives of their loved ones, look at that heartbreaking story of the woman with an only child, and you tell her not to pay ransom. What are the alternatives? What's the option? If you're not going to pay ransom, will the security operatives guarantee the safe return of her child?
No.
No. And so what people are then left to do, or what they're left to resort to, is self-help. And this is what we've seen consistently. We resorted to self-help in the area of power in Nigeria. Everyone now has a generator, an inverter, alternative source of power. We resorted to self-help in repair, in infrastructure provision, in roads. If you go to some estates, it's the people who come together to tar the roads leading to the estates. So we have now become a country of self-help, and we're getting used to this. So what we're calling on the government, and this should be a wake-up call, solve the insecurity challenges. Let us not create an industry out of it. We're joking that maybe they should start taxing kidnappers now, since they now have an industry where people are paying ransom to them, and this is an incentive for more people to get into a life of crime because it pays and there's no seeming consequence. The government has to do more. They've started doing, but they must do more to tackle insecurity and help women like this not to have to, canvass for some money to pay criminals to release their daughter. It's very sad.
It's very sad, and this is one of the few stories. This is the one that gets highlighted, but all across the country there are various stories and experiences of this nature, and we continue to appeal to our security forces to intensify the fight against insecurity. Now to Akwa Ibom State, where Governor Umoeno is causing a flurry of reactions on social media after a video went viral of him asking a contractor why he showed him the building plans for a mortuary when the governor asked him about the building of a hospital. In the video, which took place on Tuesday, Governor Eno tours the Ikotekpene-Udo General Hospital grounds alongside the development team and appears to joke that he doesn't want to hear about the mortuary anymore. Let's take a look.
Carriageway.
Yeah, it doesn't work with me. There's no plans for me to use.
Yes, sir. Bring that right. This is where we are now. Now, we started with this.
Where is it?
This is where exactly here. Exactly, yes. We started with the gatehouse and the mortuary.
Where's the gatehouse? Why do you start mortuary first? Why mortuary? I say build hospital, you go start with mortuary. Don't say that kind of a thing again. Don't show me mortuary.
Well, this was one stop among others, with the governor also touring the Ikotekpene-Udo Bridge and the Oro Maritime Jetty, in which he said all of these projects belong to the people. But let's take a look at some reactions from social media. On X, Boomsy said, "Did no one in the government review the project plan? Where is the project oversight? Why is he shocked that they started the chapel and mortuary first?" Lastly, Ishola said, "Imagine awarding a major state hospital contract, and the contractor begins with the project with a mortuary. Not fencing, not foundation, not admin blocks, a mortuary. Hospitals are supposed to save lives. Mortuaries simply record the failures of that mission. So why start with the ending? Mr. Governor, this is a red flag. Withdraw the contract immediately. A project that starts with death cannot be trusted to protect life. Public infrastructure demands accountability. We deserve better. The state deserves better." I mean, people, the last post on X says Nigeria should be on Netflix. But I mean, truly, is it wrong to say let's start with life than with death, Doctor?
Well, it is a case of what we call morbid humor, macabre humor. It looks funny, it sounds funny, but it is, it has taken the governor of Akwa Ibom State, who is a master of frank talk, straight talk, to remind us that if we are building a hospital, that is supposed to be a hospital is from a hospice, right? Which is a place where you save people and all of that. Why will you go and start with a mortuary or start with a chapel? But if I may play the devil's advocate, some of these contractors, they know Nigeria very well. They may have heard that once upon a time, Nigerians were saying that Nigerian hospitals have become mortuaries. And then they say, well, this is a country where the hospitals are mortuaries. Let's start from there. They must also have heard the statement that Nigerians are very religious people and that there is a church or a mosque in every corner. So if you were the contractor and you are a parachuter inside Nigeria, say, well, let us start with what is most important to the people. Let's put mortuary in case they die. Let's put chapel where they can go and be praying. And then the hospital itself is the last thing they want to do. That's why I say, it's a morbid humor.
Yes.
But it's instructive.
Absolutely.
And then where are the doctors for the hospitals? Maybe they're like, let me solve your doctor challenges first of all. I'm saying this in light of the conversation we had earlier on where we're talking about a brain drain and where we have only less than 40,000 doctors in Nigeria. Now, even there's a proposal around that to bring in more doctors. So maybe they're saying, we don't even have people to work in the hospital. So let us who could build the mortuary. Like Dr. Batis said, morbid humor, but it's also
the mortuary workers are in abundance.
They are in abundance. People need jobs. You don't need skilled personnel. But it's very sad.
Somebody had explained to me, I think this person works in construction, is the reason why they talk about building the mortuary first is because if you build the hospital first, before you know it, people can come and steal things on site and steal things once you start to install them in the hospital. Okay. So you get done with the mortuary first, and concentrate your attention on the hospital in such a way that you can now effectively secure it, because there's a lot of theft on site. But I think the paramount thing for me, apart from this mortuary or no mortuary talk, is this hospital. Let us even scrutinize the projects. Let us see how much earmarked. Let us see if proper bidding process was done. Let us see how much they're using to build. Let us see what is coming to the contractors. Let us see if it's been paid for on time. Let us see transparency and see if it's the best value for money. Because that's how accountability and the society works in general,
that's
most
right.
importantly.
And there are also a lot of comments saying that, well, they wish such a project could have been awarded to a Nigerian contractor. Well, it could have been a Nigerian contractor who employed, for other people to do the work. Anyway, it's now time for our milestones. And under milestones today, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Nigeria are remembering the life of one of Nigeria's foremost investors and industrialists, Adekunle Ojora, the Otumba of Lagos and Lisa of Ife, whose death at 93 years old was announced in a statement from his daughter, Toyin Ojora Saraki, on Wednesday. Born in 1932, Chief Ojora was known as a boardroom titan whose illustrious career spanned industries. But he began his career in the media, studying journalism at Regent Street Polytechnic in London, before then working his way up to become an assistant editor at the BBC. By 1955, he joined the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation as a reporter and later transferred to Ibadan to work as an information officer with the regional premier. By 1961, he had pivoted to public relations, working as a PR manager for the United African Company before becoming an executive director 1 year later. He then took on the business world, investing in various firms across industries including oil and gas, food, insurance, real estate and finance within Nigeria and abroad. He emerged as one of the key figures to have shaped the development of industry in Nigeria, in turn impacting generations. Well, in a statement on Wednesday, President Tinubu mourned Otumba Ojora's passing, calling his life one marked by humility, perseverance, hard work, tenacity, and generosity. He also called him an individual who made significant contributions to both the private and public sectors. May his soul rest in peace. Now, we'll also move quickly to our good news report for today, where in a major step for Nigeria's medical community, the Prostate Clinic in Lagos just made history by performing the first ever robotic gynecological surgery in West Africa. Now, the procedure took place on Sunday as the facility marks its gradual transition from male-focused treatments to working with women as well. The medical doctor, Kingsley Ekweme, called the historic surgery representative of a commitment to innovation within Nigeria's medical landscape. The surgery was performed on a 30-year-old woman who'd been dealing with discomfort due to an ovarian tumor. Dr. Ekweme said that recovery for this procedure is fast due to the precision of robotic surgery, which allows a medical team to remove affected tissue with minimal blood loss. It comes after the clinic became the first center in Nigeria and West Africa offering robotic and laparoscopic surgery for prostate cancer last year. Now, this is such a great development, as the surgery was also conducted free of charge under the facility's corporate social responsibility program, and hopefully will open the door to more procedures focused on women's health, including fibroids, endometriosis, ovarian tumors, and more. But the inclusion of technology is absolutely such a welcome development. And, earlier we taken the story of, the construction of a hospital. We do hope that when they finish the hospital in Ikpotekpene, that it will have, state-of-the-art equipment that can also perform these types of procedures.
Absolutely.
Okay, good one, doctor.
But this must be a private clinic, I guess, not a government hospital.
Yes.
Because we always have issues with government hospitals in terms of maintenance, in terms of cost, in terms of personnel. We build the hospitals first, we start looking for, health professionals. But you know, it's a good development. In the age of AI,
yes,
there will be more involvement between medicine and technology.
Absolutely, and good to see some of it happening here at home. Well, that's all we've got today on What's Trending.
Thank you very much indeed. And that's a wrap on this edition of The Morning Show.